Okay, we are going to talk about converse statements. Now, converse statements is a related statement. So, if you haven't watched my video on introduction to statements, please watch that first. It will make this make a little bit more sense. I'm also going to talk about truth values of converse statements. So, if you haven't watched my truth value ones, then you're going to have to, or you're going to want to watch that also before you watch this video, just to make things clear. Okay, so before we talked about what a statement is, so I'm going to just type one up really quick. If I eat all my dinner, then I will get dessert. Okay, so this is going to be my statement. My statement is if I eat all my dinner, then I will get dessert. Okay. Actually, I think I'm going to change this up a little bit because I want to make, well, I'll do that in the next example. And here we're just going to talk about how to create a converse. So, hypothesis and conclusion. Okay. So in an earlier video, I discussed what the hypothesis is and the conclusion. I am just going to highlight this really quick. If you're confused at all how I know what to highlight here, then again, go review that first video. It's important stuff. Definitely need to know these definitions. So, to create the converse of this statement, I am going to swap my hypothesis and my conclusion. So, my converse statement, converse, is going to become if I get dessert, then I will eat all my dinner. Important thing to note about writing converses is sometimes they don't make sense. I mean, I promise that if I get dessert, I'm probably not going to care too much about my dinner afterwards. And normally people don't say some of these things. So just because you can write a converse doesn't mean it's always going to make sense. But this is technically the converse. I say just swap the hypothesis and the conclusion. So my new hypothesis is going to be I get dessert. And my old hypothesis, or my new conclusion, my old hypothesis, my new conclusion is going to be I will eat all my dinner. Right. I'm going to give you a new example here. Okay, so my statement is that if I cut a rope, then it will be shorter. Now, I'm bringing up this one because I wanted to make sure I gave you an example where the truth value is true. Okay, now I'm going to write its converse. Okay. Now, the converse, it sounds a little funky too. But remember, it is going to be the rope. So I'm just going to replace the word it here just to make this a little bit more the rope. There we go. if the rope is shorter, then I will cut the rope. Hey, but that's not always going to be true. Just because you have a short rope doesn't mean you're going to cut it. Okay. So sometimes when you take the converse of a statement, it changes the truth value. Now, it doesn't always change the truth value. Sometimes the truth value stays the same. So, let me think of one where the truth value stays the same. Now, if you have any confusion about what I'm talking about with truth values, again, go back and watch that video. So let's come up with another example. Why is it doing that? Okay, so one where it's going to stay the same, no matter which way I write it. If I there. So this statement says, if I brush my teeth, then I use mouthwash. In this, for me, because I'm using the word I, this is always true. I always use mouthwash when I brush my teeth. You don't have to. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, for me, this is always true. No matter what, if I'm brushing my teeth, I'm going to use mouthwash. Okay? But if I take the converse, okay. And this says that if I use mouthwash, then I brush my teeth. And for me, this is going to be true too, because that's when I use mouthwash, is when I'm brushing my teeth. So for me, these are both going to have a truth value of true. So a converse can change the truth value of a statement, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Now, I understand that a couple of you out there are going to nitpick these little statements here and argue how they could be considered false. And that's okay. I'm just trying to give an example to get the idea that, a converse statement can change the truth value, but it doesn't necessarily change truth value. Now, in another video coming up, I'm going to talk about what happens when we change truth values, or when we have a converse that does not change truth value, what we're going to call that. But that's going to be another video, so look out for it. Okay, I will talk to you later.